All right, guys. Another interview. I know you guys have been saying that on your TV we don't feature enough gospel. Although we do, you tend not to say it. Maybe because you haven't had a big fish yet. So today we have Jesshurun okyere in the studio. He's been doing something for 9 years consistently, and it's the August worship. So we are in the ninth edition,
Yeah,
ninth
we're in
year.
the ninth edition this year.
Wow, wow.
We started in 2011 in a small church in Dansuman called PIWC. But the place was overflowing with a crowd. We went to a live chapel, then we went to conference center for 6 years. That makes, no, for 5 years. And then the past 2 years has been at our current venue, which is the Makers House Chapel International.
Cool. So take us through it. How did it start? What informed it? What made you put it together?
Well, it's a long story, but I try to wrap it up. I grew up in church. My parents were leaders in church and all of that. But along the way, I fell off because I didn't find, that kind of environment in church that suited a young person who wants to be happy. Church felt like a bit too cultural and too stiff, if you want, for me. So Charlie went around. But I think whatever is a seed that's planted in you will always come out. And in 2009, I featured on a song by a group called Pen Project. CTFM did a voice gospel competition, and the song won. And from then, I started feeling the inclination to like take my music life seriously and to take my Christianity seriously. It was during that time that I had an encounter with God concerning August worship, gathering young people in that free spirit environment to worship God and to praise Him. So it took 2 years to plan it, and in 2011 we kickstarted the first one, and we've come 9 years. It started as a youthful thing, but now, Charlie, the adults have kind of
Take it
taken
over.
it over.
So looking back now, what has been some of the shocking moments, the highlights, and maybe the challenges?
Okay, so let me start with the highlights. It's been amazing. We started with Cindy Thompson. Joe Mettle at the time had also just come out with his first album at that time. It wasn't the huge Joe Mettle that we had at this time. And a few of my friends. And then 2012 went to Joe Beecham, Helen Yossin, and so on. And then we came to Lord Kenya in 2013. Akese Brempo had also just started out. And then we brought Nathaniel Bass, and I think that was where the game changer came. At the time when he had released Emela, and Emela was really big. So, yeah, and it's been amazing. The most interesting thing is that it's become like a platform where even non-church goers, like people you not call Crife on a regular day, like to come for August worship. I don't know why, but like a lot of people, street people. I mean, one day somebody told me, Charlie, the kind of people I see for your concert. So that's it. It's a free environment, for young people to worship, and those are some of the successes we've chalked over the years. We've also been able to raise money to support the Suhum Toto Orphanage.
Okay.
Yes, for 2 consecutive years, last 2 years and last year. We've taken care of them, sent provisions, food supplies, and so on and so forth. The other thing is that I've overdone this story about my addiction, which a lot of people know, and there are a lot of young people because of the concert they were able to open up and connect, and can count more than like 200 young men and young boys, if you want, that we've helped to come out of the addiction to masturbation. It's also become like a standard of a sort. I mean, I know somebody will say I'm boasting, but that's not what I mean to say. Like, we're among one of the first gospel concerts to like take the whole conference center. And, it was at that time, hey, conference center, everybody was like shocked. But God did it. Prior to that, it was just the Sarkodieres and the secular guys who were doing it. Challenges, when it comes to the gospel fraternity, the biggest challenge, like it is for the entire industry, is funding. So sometimes it's difficult because I specifically heard God tell me to make it a free concert because when I was in the world and when I was doing my kind of things, there was no way you're going to sell to me a gospel thing and I'll buy. I'd rather use my money to go and watch Lord Kenya. I had piles of cassettes of Lord Kenya. I'll listen back to back and try to rap with him or Bravo or something. I wouldn't. So it occurred to me that if I want to reach out to people of my kind at the time, then you can't sell it to them because their interest is not there in any way. But when they come in, they are blessed, they are touched, they can rather, support what you do. So funding has been a problem, but God has always come through for us, interestingly. I think the other thing that challenge that we have as gospel people is our approach to the gospel. Like, I thank God for people in the industry that I've met who are helping me to open up. It looks like we're just too inclusive. We're just too close. We don't want to do media at all. We don't want to do radio interviews. Like, oh, I'm sorry for November. And over the years, that's the biggest lesson I've learned. It was a challenge. Now we're trying to correct it. One of the reasons why we're here, trying to get church people and even non-church people to reason with us and fellowship with us. I think those are two basic challenges.
So the 9th edition, what's special? What should people expect? Who's on the bill? Give us the details.
Okay, so the 9th edition is happening at the Makers House Chapel International, Kwabinya, on the 18th of August at 4 p.m. It's going to be massive. We have Joe Mettle, my very good friend and brother, on the bill. Cece Twum from Ghana. It's like a Ghana meets Niger Gospel edition. Okay, and myself. And then we have Victoria Orenze from Nigeria and Afi Douglas from Nigeria. These are two fast-rising Nigerian gospel artists. Last year, Nathaniel Bassey was there. It was a great blessing. Victoria Orenze is coming. Afi Douglas is coming this year as well. And we have two guest speakers, Dr. Michael Bodinyamicho of the Makers House Chapel International, and of course, Apostle Professor Opokunyina, the immediate past chairman of the Church of Pentecost, is also going to be our guest as well. So it's basically a lot of music. Then the speakers will come and encourage young people, share a few thoughts with them, how to plan your life, how to make in the perspective of God, issues about destiny, purpose, basic questions on the mind of young and even the old people. And that's basically what we do.
Cool. I'm looking at doing things for the young people. You realize that even the direction of gospel music has changed. It's more contemporary, urban, and also, what do you think from Nigeria to Ghana? That's what seemed to be the in thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's not just in Nigeria. In Kenya, in Malawi, in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, the urban gospel field is growing. I think that there's some amount of Western influence that we cannot do without. Of course, most of us who wanted to do gospel music and learn the music, the guitar and all of that, we're forced to learn some of these Black American gospel songs that have affected our flow and how we come up with the songs. But also, I think social media has done a great job of exposing. It's almost like merging the two worlds together. And I think that also people are becoming very open to the kind of Christianity. The God has not changed. The name of Christ has not changed. But again, like Jesus said, you do not light a lamp and put it under a bushel. Churches used to be very conserved and wanted to keep to themselves. But now churches are going out there. And when you're going out there, you need to go with a bit of what they want or what they already hear, the sound that they're used to hearing versus what you already have. So for me, I don't think the contemporary has taken over fully, but we're in a place of fusion where you fuse what we have with what they already hear. Like you hear a lot of gospel Afrobeat songs now. Proud to that, Okoto Abeka just said, you're falling from the grace. But now, like, people are embracing those things more in the church, and we're taking that out to win more people into the church.
Great. You also have a radio show.
Yeah.
How does that help the gospel?
Well, my show is purely inspirational. I've opted to do a morning devotion from 4 to 6 before I start my show at 6 to 9 on Live 91.9 FM. How has that helped the gospel? I think it's my listeners who will tell. But I think the prayer life of many young people have improved. We've used that as a platform to also raise funds to support young girls who go through various challenges financially, connecting them to counselors and all of that. We've also, I think, opened up to young people to contribute to the national debate. For example, Black Stars, $4.5 million. I open the phone lines, allow young people to have their say. Because on these bigger platforms or on these other platforms on radio, I think it's other platforms and not bigger platforms. They're not bigger than my platform. It's mostly the adults, and we feel that politics is just for the adults. Even though it's not a political show, we have our say on national
Politics of the
issues.
day.
Yes, politics, soccer, every aspect of life. I mean, this morning we were discussing a man of God who had made certain tribal comments. I will not go into, and that's it. We give young people the platform to voice out. We have a segment on Mondays called Mr. President, where we open the phone lines and allow people to talk to the president as if he's listening. I'm sure he does. And we've gotten some good feedback from.
Well, you talked about how social media is helping with the message. I know you just mentioned an example of a pastor who sort of messed up. Do you see these so-called pastors making the word of spreading the gospel difficult for you and everyone else?
Yeah, I read a scripture, 2 Peter 2:2 on air this morning. I was talking. It's about some prophets using their depraved mind to cause the gospel to be unprofitable, or they are defaming the name of Jesus. I think that sometimes, like Lord Acton said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Sometimes, when you're standing before the people and the crowd are cheering you, and whatever you say, they'll say yeah to you or preach on. You are not too careful to watch what you say. And I feel that is counterproductive to the gospel in a certain sense, because then you get people now closing. And today on my show, for example, a lot of people are saying, look, I don't even feel like going to church anymore, and so on and so forth. But as to whether some of these pastors will even hear us, because I'm told that one of them had come out to say that, he's gone beyond bashing. So when you bash him, so it's difficult when people carry so much power. And the truth is that we are the ones that give them that power, and if people will learn to read the Bible for themselves, then they won't invest so much power in a man of God, even though a man of God has a very important role to play in your life. But you also have to know the word of God to know what to take from what the man of God says, because then if he errs, then
that's true. All right, so before we wrap up, let us know what's up with you in terms of the music, and also what people should expect from you.
So we have a lot of music coming up. I have over 10 songs. Like, I don't know whether to put them together in an album or like as singles, but because of the concert coming up, we're trying to, focus on the concert, and then rather release the songs as extra content. So watch out for Al Cristo. Watch out for my Afrobeat medley. I have a song coming out with Joe Mettle as well. Quite a number of songs. One with Cece Twum. Amazing songs coming up this season after the concert on the 18th at the Maker's House. 4 p.m. is the time. You don't want to miss that.
You all heard it. I'm going to be there with Brendorf, my cameraman. So you guys should join us as well on the 18th.
Amazing.
Cheers.